If you find yourself struggling with drug or alcohol addiction and need support, need a friend, I will put my contact information in the description of this video. Absolutely absurd times that we are currently living in. Um, so yeah, my state just put out something earlier basically saying that tomorrow at midnight we are going to go to essential businesses only. I don't think we're at the point where you would get arrested for leaving your home for the wrong reasons, but I think it's coming pretty soon. I don't think any of us anticipated that it was going to get this crazy this quickly, but here we are. It's just crazy too. I'm fortunate enough to be in a job sector that my work has flourished under these conditions. This is my first night off since February 24th, believe it or not. We were preparing for a big audit, and then basically the day of the audit was the first day of the panic, and so yeah, it just took off from there. So I've been working myself to death lately, so this is my first night off, and it coincides with perhaps our last night at this level of freedom. So yeah, just trying to spend it out in society and take it all in. Weirdest stuff ever. I placed an order for pickup and didn't pay for it. Was going to pay for it when I picked it up. Went to pick it up and they told me that they had given it to someone else, but the other person paid for it. So I'm totally lost as to how that happened, like why the other person would pay for my order instead of just making their own order. But I'm going to get my food for free now, so that's really not a bad turn of events at all. No bookstores. Bookstores are closed. Art galleries, closed. This is Broad and High Street. This is the geographical center of downtown Columbus. Columbus being the geographical center of Ohio. So, kind of the most centered person in the state of Ohio right now. There's nobody outside. It being the last day of this level of freedom, there are actually some really good deals on Airbnb. So I got myself a downtown apartment for the night. It's a studio apartment, but man, is this nice. This is really, really, really nice. Just look at this place. Really, really nice. Of course, no matter how comfortable the couch, as soon as you sit down, the existential pain and sadness and the misery will nonetheless be there. So yeah, obviously this is not a good situation. I don't think any of us like what's going on right now. Do I think it's going to be over in 2 weeks? No. I think this is, these measures they're going to take, at least around here starting tomorrow, non-essential businesses closed, restaurants closed, schools closed, and all of that. I think this is, I think it's going to be 6 to 12 months at least. This is going to be a significant change in daily lives for most of us. My gym's closed. I had to buy a home gym. Just having to adapt to this new phase of life. Yeah, and it's terrifying. It's terrifying because, the disease, to be honest, yeah, I've seen some of the YouTube videos of the hospitals in Italy and China and whatnot, and yeah, it's scary, but I still feel really far removed from it. Maybe this is naivete, but I still am thinking that I'm young and healthy, that, I'm probably going to be okay. But it's terrifying, this whole, given that I'm a, anarchist, sympathizing libertarian, this idea of the state taking power over us so quickly and swiftly is terrifying. That's more terrifying, in my opinion, than the disease. This is, state takeover, martial law, and stuff this is, a lot of people, this is one of their biggest fears, and it's playing out. And so what I think is going to happen is, I think in a couple weeks' time, we're going to see some type of emergency act, the Coronavirus Protection Act or something that's going to be akin to the Patriot Act, and people will support it out of fear, and they won't know what's actually in it. They won't know how it's actually going to be used. And I'm not even trying to sound conspiratorial. We can go conspiratorial in a second, but I'm just saying, I think that's right around the corner. And how this will play out is we'll give up a lot of our rights, privileges, and whatnot. The state will get a lot more power, and then 6 to 12 months or whatever, when we get our most immediate freedoms back, being able to go to school, out to eat, to the gym, and all of that, everyone will be so immersed in that happiness that they won't realize that a lot of the stuff that was taken away, or a lot of the new legislation that was put in for emergencies only, is going to stay, and it's here for good. So that's what I'm afraid of. You could say, do I believe that the coronavirus is organic, or is it man-made in a lab? Those conspiracy theories, I don't actually know. Gun to my head, I'm going to say it would be organic, that it just happened the way that we're told. But I was listening to some guy on, what's his name, Stefan Molyneux's podcast, some doctor, some Harvard-educated medical guy, who was talking stuff way above my head, obviously, but talking why there is all of this evidence that it is man-made. How I think the analogy he used was that it would be like wind blowing a junkyard into a vehicle or something like that, these kind of. So I don't know. It's just terrifying. I just don't know enough, because there's going to be someone smarter than me saying it's man-made, someone smarter than that person saying it's organic, someone smarter than that person saying it's man-made. I don't know what to believe. And not knowing what to believe is terrifying as well. So one of my friends, he actually tripped on mushrooms a couple days ago, and he did it so that he could think about this stuff very deeply, which seems like a very big risk, because, in that psychedelic mindset, coming to terms with the fact that we're in the middle of a deadly plague could freak one out just a bit. But he actually said that it helped him immensely, that it helped him come to terms with all of these changes in our lives, and come to terms with the fact that you have to give up a lot in this climate. People, this is a test of people's selfishness. People have to, sacrifice their own selfish needs for the greater good. And he said that it helped him a lot in that way. I was actually thinking about doing it myself on this night off, but it turned out not to happen. But yeah, that would have been crazy. And so what would it be like to be going through this if we're addicted to a drug? If there was, if there's legislation passed or controls put into place where you're not allowed to leave your home, if not for the most essential tasks, going to the grocery store or whatnot, then that's gonna wreak havoc on someone who is addicted to something and is having to go buy it most days. I don't know if you would just have to do your drug deals in the bathroom of your local grocery store. I don't know. So there's probably a lot of people that are freaking out. I would assume that methadone labs would stay open, or methadone clinics. Why am I calling it a methadone lab? Jesus. Methadone clinics would most likely stay open. Would kratom shops stay open? I don't know. Obviously that's seen as a luxury item by those in power. But yeah, given that the borders are closed, and there's going to be obvious effects on legit legal importation, exportation of goods and whatnot, I would see drug prices probably skyrocket pretty soon. I don't. It would be very terrifying to be going through a drug addiction, and having to deal with this, especially if you're trying to get off, and all of the emotional and psychological stuff you go through if you're forced to quit, but then you're doing it, with this backdrop of there being this this ridiculous plague that nobody knows anything truly about, that's wreaking havoc on society. And like, so I'll have like no problem keeping myself entertained through this. That's not an issue. I mean, I can read books and practice hobbies and learn things and everything. I could do that. That's my forte. That's how I like to be. But I like doing it in a public setting. I'm not a homebody. So that's what's going to suck is like, I like always being out places, like being at the gym or a coffee shop or just sitting in public and everything. Like, I'm a very public person. Um, I don't like to be home. So it's going to be very strange having no option other than to like do this all at home. But I can adapt. I'm not terrified like some people are terrified of like, I said I haven't been bored in 20 years. Like some people will fall apart really quickly being quarantined. But what I hate is I hate being told what to do. So like being told that I'm not allowed to go here or do this or, that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, like I understand ostensibly why we're doing this to not, spread the disease and whatnot, but I hate being told what to do. And the minute I'm told that I can't do something, like that's all you can think about is wanting to do it, and I'm a rebel and everything. So that's going to be what's challenging, especially if this thing lasts for a long time, like not ending up arrested because I violate the rules.